On the farm tonight, you love them in muffins, pancakes, or even just by the handful. We're talking about blueberries. And when it comes to blueberries, it's a growth crop in Virginia. WFXR's George Noliff did a little blueberry picking this week and brings us that story.
Say they're a long ways from getting ripe yet.
Meet Lewis Woodall.
It'll be a while. It might even be about the 1st of July.
He's been farming blueberries in Craig County for decades. Woodall says this year's crop is just a little behind.
But we need some sun right now for ripening.
But it should be okay.
It's a fair crop. It's not real abundant, but fair. And you know, we had a couple of frosts in April and hurt the crop a little bit. We have a fair crop. I can tell where to send the people, where the most berries are.
Woodall's farm is a pick-your-own operation. He grows them, you pick them.
You know, we charge by the gallon. This year we'll probably charge about $14 a gallon.
He's in his berry patches every day, year-round. They take a lot of work.
I have to mow the berries in the summertime, and right before we open for picking, I have to weed eat around every bush. And then in the winter, I have to prune the berries, which takes a long time. You see that bush is not, and those bushes not in there on the ground, like right here.
And then there's one more threat to Woodall's berries that you might not have thought about.
The deer, and they're real bad. See this patch behind the house, I put an 8-foot high fence around it. The deer browse on it in the wintertime, and in the summer they actually eat the berries.
Like all farmers, Woodall's facing inflation pressure. That's meant increased production cost.
Inflation is hitting about everything. Now these first 6.5 rows are Duke, and see they come in early.
Woodall's in his 80s, and despite the weather challenges and the deer and the increased costs, he says berry farming's one of his passions, and he'll keep on growing them as long as people keep on eating them. And he loves to eat them too.
I've eaten as much as a gallon a day, and that night, you know, you'd be sick of them, but wake up next morning, you're ready to start over again eating them.
How y'all doing, folks? Berry production in the U.S. accounts for nearly $6 billion every year. Now that number is from our friends at Virginia State University. They are pushing berry production. Agriculture experts say blueberry production in Virginia is on the rise. They expect that trend to continue.
So George, what makes Virginia prime blueberry growing territory?
Drew, a few things. Our climate's good for them. Plus, soil conditions just about right for blueberries in most places in the Commonwealth, especially here in our region. The other thing pushing it is demand. The past 2 decades, Americans have become more health conscious. Blueberries are little antioxidant health bombs, very good for you, and they taste good. Farmers in Virginia have started planting more to meet that demand.
All right, George, I got to ask you real quick, when you were picking the berries out there, how much went in the basket and how many went in your mouth?
All went in the mouth.
Oh, yeah, didn't keep any of them? And you didn't bring them back here either?
They're still in the ripening stage. About another week and a half, they should be ready to pick. I'm going to be back out there. Trust me.
So next week?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, George.